You have to tell me in the beginning only, okay?
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, what is that question? Let us start. The balance sheet of Nisha Limited is on 31st March 2017. They given. So liabilities given 12% preference shares of rupees 100 each. They given. Okay, 12 lakh rupees. Equity share they given 100 rupees fully paid. Okay. 10% debentures are given 8 lakh rupees. And one item is given that is very important. Outstanding interest on debenture. What is the meaning of outstanding? It is not paid. The interest which is not paid on this 10% debenture, that is nothing but how much? 80,000. So that is outstanding interest on debenture. Bank overdraft is our liability. Sundry creditor is given. Coming to the asset side, goodwill is given, land and building is given, plant and machinery, furniture, patent and pattern is given here. Be careful. Patent and pattern is given, goodwill is given, which is our loss, patent and pattern also. Here we have to take intangible asset and profit and loss account. These are the three items which are we have to return off from the balance sheet. Stock, debtors and cash at bank is given. Now, coming to the adjustment. Nisha Limited passed a special resolution to reconstruct its affairs and got sanction for the same from the relevant court, and the scheme of reconstruction is as under. The 12% preference shares are to be converted into same number of 15% preference share of rupees 75 each fully paid. So what is happening here? 12% preference shares are there in the company. We have to convert into the same number of 15% preference share of rupees how much? 75 rupees each. So preference share value is total 100 rupees, and 100 rupees preference share value we have to reduce to 75 rupees. So obviously 25 rupees it is a loss for me. So I mean to say profit for the company, but preference shareholder for them it's a loss. So as a company's perspective, you have to see that we are getting 25 rupees as a what? Profit. So 100 rupees has been converted into 75 rupees. Okay. But the thing is what happened is that here rate of preference share is 12%. Now they want to convert the rate into 15%, but face value will be reduced. They want to increase the rate, but they're telling preference shareholder, we will reduce our face value, but we will increase our rate. If you are agree with this, then we will go for reconstruction. Then company says that okay, fine, not a problem. Then next one, the equity shareholder are to be converted into the same number of equity share of rupees 5 each. Okay, now carefully here, listen here everyone. What that given here, equity share which is 100 rupees, 100 rupees equity share has been converted to 5 rupees, means 95 rupees is the profit for the company. 95 rupees is the profit for the company. Next one. Okay, this two adjustment is over. Now third one is very important, which is that's why this question is 2017 question paper. 14 marks means for you people they will ask for 15 marks. So carefully listen here everyone. Debenture holders are agreed to forego interest outstanding. Very important here, I will just highlight till here. Now debenture holders are there in the company. For them we have to pay something called outstanding interest on debenture. It is very clear, they given here. Now this the outstanding interest on debenture which is we have to pay to this 10% debenture holder. They are telling that we will forego the interest on outstanding interest on debenture. Forgo means it is a completely waived. We don't, they're telling we don't they're telling to the company don't pay our interest which is outstanding. Okay, so we don't want our interest, so we'll forego the interest which is outstanding on the debenture holders. Okay, so it means for a company it is a profit, for a company it is a what? Profit. Now debenture holder agreed to forego interest outstanding means here what has happened, we have to pay 80,000 rupees of interest. Now they are telling that we don't want this interest, means they are foregoing the interest. So here company got a profit. So if a company is getting the profit means capital reduction account will get credit. So what will be my journal entry over here? Outstanding interest on debenture account debit. Okay, everyone concentrate carefully. Listen here. What will be my entry? Because fully I don't have to pay this interest to the debenture holder. So I am getting full profit. So outstanding interest on debenture account debit to capital reduction account. Amount how much? 80,000. Outstanding interest on debenture account debit to capital reduction account, which is 80,000 rupees. So this will be the entry for this particular adjustment. Okay, debenture holder agreed to forego, right? Now, but simply they are not foregone. Later on, the debenture holder has put one condition on the company. What is the condition? Subject to the condition that the rate of interest to be increased to 15%. Very, very important. Carefully listen here. Debenture holders are telling that you have to pay me 8 lakh rupees as a 10% debenture. So debenture holder told that okay, to the company that we will not ask you the outstanding interest which is there in your company. But one condition is that if you are not paying the outstanding interest on debenture, then one condition is that our rate which is you are giving 10%, you have to increase to how much percent now? 15%. So now what is happening? 10% debenture rate has been increased to 15%, but amount will remain same. Amount will not change because they are not telling any related to the amount. They are telling that only the rate of interest will get changed. So what will be the entry? Here two entry will come in third adjustment. First is outstanding interest on debenture account debit to capital reduction account, and then second entry what will come? They are telling the condition that rate of interest to be increased. So 10% debenture holders are old debenture holder. We are giving them new interest rate that is 15%. So what will be my entry? 10% debentures account debit 8 lakh rupees to 15% debentures account 8 lakh rupees. Same. So in balance sheet, when I am going to prepare a balance sheet, instead of 10% debenture, you have to show how much percent debenture? 15% debenture you have to show in your balance sheet. Tell me, everyone understood this third adjustment?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. How many people understood? Raise your hand. 51. Right. Let us move on to the next adjustment. Creditor is been agreed to forego 25% of their claim. Very important. Wherever forego comes means it is a profit for the company. Remember. So in fourth adjustment we are getting one profit, and in third adjustment also we are getting some profit. So forego is always nothing but it's a profit for the company. Nothing but they are not asking that amount. They are telling that we don't want that much amount by the credits. Now here what is happening? Creditor is agreed to forego 25% of their claim. So now, how much is the sundry creditor? 3 lakh rupees. Out of 3 lakh rupees, what they're telling, 25% we are ready to forego the amount. So if we calculate 3 lakh rupees, 25% means it will be around 75,000 rupees, right? So now if we calculate that 3 lakhs, okay, just take the calculation and
Yes, sir. Right.
75,000 rupees. So what is happening here? Company earlier, if you see old creditor is 3 lakh rupees. But they are telling that 25% they don't want means company will get reduced. Their creditors liability will get reduced. So 75,000 is a profit. So 3 lakh minus 75 means we have to pay 2 lakh 25,000 rupees. So we got a profit once again. Okay. Coming to the next adjustment. Land and building is to be valued at 15 lakh rupees. Land and building to be valued at rupees how much? 15 lakh rupees. So it means what? Now in the book value, the land and building is 12 lakh rupees. Okay, land and building is how much? 12 lakh rupees. But company is telling that in the market, the land and building value is 15 lakh rupees. Okay. So 12 lakh rupees of land and building. Now in the market it is 15 lakh rupees. Is it not a profit for us? The increase in the value of the asset, yes or no?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So it is an increase in the value of the asset. So now what you have to do? How much is has been increased? From 12 lakh rupees, the asset value has increased to 15 lakh. Means the difference between 15 lakh minus 12 lakh, it is nothing but 3 lakh. So 3 lakh rupees is the increase in the value of asset. So what will be my entry? Normally we will pass the entry asset account debit to capital reduction account. So here asset name is there. So we have to write the name of the asset. Land and building account debit to capital reduction account. Amount is rupees 3 lakh. So this revalued amount, always remember, carefully listen here everyone. The valued amount or revalued amount, it will always show to the balance sheet. It should show in the balance sheet, not in the journal entries. Remember, we have to show the revalued amount always in the balance sheet. That is a learning for you. Next one, last one adjustment, what they're telling. The amount thus made available. Okay, amount thus made available, nothing but the amount which is available in the capital reduction account. If there is any amount is available in the capital reduction account, it must be used to write off all the intangible and fictitious asset. It must it must be used to write off all the intangible and fictitious asset. Okay. Intangible nothing but goodwill as well as patent and patent as well as fictitious asset means my profit and loss account. Then and to bring down the value of plant and machinery by 40%. Remember, this is very important. Don't get confused with this. See, they are not telling here in this adjustment that again if there is a balance means use that balance to write down the value of plant and machinery. No, they have not told anywhere. So don't use the balance of capital reduction account to write off the value of plant and machinery. No, it is a separate adjustment. What they're telling here and to bring down the value of plant and machinery by 40%. By means always it will go to capital reduction account. Okay. So now plant and machinery value is how much? 10 lakh rupees. Now our plant and machinery value is 10 lakh, but what they're telling is that plant and machinery value we have to bring down. So it is a decrease in the value of asset. How much percent? 40%. Now calculate 10 lakh rupees, 40% will be how much? It will be 4 lakh rupees. So that 4 lakh rupees, it is a loss for the company, means there is a decrease in the value of asset. So decrease in the value of asset means it's a loss. So loss means what will be the entry? Capital reduction account debit to plant and machinery account. How much? 40%, which is nothing but 4 lakh rupees. Then finally, you are required to pass necessary journal entries and prepare the reconstructed balance sheet. So you have to pass the journal entries and you have to prepare the reconstructed balance sheet. This question has been asked in the BCom 2017 section C problem. This is a section C, pure section C problem. Very important. Okay. So now I have discussed the complete adjustment, each and every adjustment. With this, we are going to start the problem, right?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So let us start with the problem. Now I am going to start. I think you also can draw the lines. Question number 13, let us give the heading. Question number 13. I'll just take copy this one. So let us write the company name, Messrs. Nishal Limited. We have to pass the journal entries. I hope you have been drawing the format. As on 31st, let me see when 31st of March 2017. So 31st of March 2017. Okay. So this is the journal entry format. I will just go remove this all. So 31st March 2017. So this is the format of journal entry, and with this we are going to start the problem now. Let us begin with the first adjustment. Okay. So what is happened in the first adjustment? Preference shareholders 12% preference shares are converted into 15% preference share of rupees how much? 75 each. So don't get surprised that what is this 15%? It is nothing but new rate of preference share. So preference share 12% preference share capital, which is how much? 100 rupees account debit to 15% preference share. Okay, preference share capital. What is the new rate? It is how much? 75 rupees. So to 15% 75 rupees account, remaining will go to capital reduction account. So now let us start with the filling up the amount. 12% preference share is 12 lakh rupees, which will become debit. So here 12 lakh rupees. Now number of preference shares are not going to change, only the rate of preference share is going to change. So 12 lakh divided by 100, if you take, it will come around how much? 12,000. So 12,000 into 75. So what is the amount here will come?
Lakh.
9 lakhs, sir.
9 lakh rupees. Okay, perfect.
9 lakhs.
So remaining how much amount will go capital reduction account?
3 lakhs, sir.
3 lakhs.
Done. So let us try the narration of here being reduced value of preference share capital. Okay, being reduced in the value of preference share capital. So this is the first entry which have been already cleared. Okay, now let us move on to the third one. The equity shares to be converted into the same number of equity shares of rupees 5 each. So now company have equity shares, right? 100 rupees. Now they are telling they want to convert the same equity share into rupees how much? 5 each. So 95 rupees is the will go to capital reduction account. So let us pass the journal entry for this. So what will be the entry? Equity share capital 100 account, equity share capital 100 account debit to equity share capital, which is 5 account. Okay, new is how much? 5 to capital reduction account. To how much? Capital reduction account. So now what is the equity share capital amount is how much? It is 12 lakh rupees. Okay, once again we have to write here how much? 12 lakh rupees. Now, to equity share capital 5 means how many shares once again? 12,000. So 12,000 into 5, if you take, it will come how much?
60,000.
60,000.
60,000. So means 12,000 into 95 is nothing but 11 lakh.
40,000.
11 lakh 40,000.
11 lakh 40,000. So this is the entry for this one being reduced in the value of equity share. All of you are concentrating to me, okay, and listening properly. Okay, so being equity share value reduced. Let us move on to the next one. Debenture holder. Now coming to the third adjustment. Debenture holders is agreed to forego interest outstanding, right? They are ready to forego the interest outstanding. So what is interest outstanding interest here? How much? 80,000. Let us pass the entry of this. What will be the entry? Outstanding interest on debenture account debit. Okay, you have to write completely. Outstanding interest on debenture account debit. Since it is a forgo, means it is a profit for the company. So to capital reduction account, amount to rupees how much? 80,000. Amount is rupees how much? 80,000. The narration for this one. Being foregone interest on debenture. Being foregone interest on outstanding interest on debenture. Okay. Being foregone outstanding interest on debenture account or debentures. Correct. All of you understood this entry? I hope you
Yes.
are clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, again, what happened later on? Okay. Debenture holder told that we don't want interest outstanding. We'll waive, we'll forego. But there is a condition is that the rate of interest must be increased to 15%. So 10% is the rate. Okay. So now what will be the, so what you have to write always in the debit, the old rate, 10% debentures. Now we are for 10% debentures, we are giving them 15%. So amount is same only. So what will be the entry here? 10% debenture account debit. Okay. 10% interest on 10% debenture account debit. Two, what we are giving them new, which is nothing but 15%. So 15% debenture account. To what? 15% debenture. So amount will remain same. They are not telling that increase the amount or decrease the amount. Nothing. So amount will remain same only, which is how much? 8 lakh rupees. So what will write the narration? Being increase in the, okay, is in the rate of interest of debenture holder. Debenture holder. So this is how the adjustment has been treated over here. So when you prepare a balance sheet, there instead of 10%, you have to show how much percent? 15%. So this we have to remember. So let me write here for your understanding. This is my new debentures. Okay. Everyone understood this entry?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let us move on to the next one. Creditors is agreed to forego 25% of their claim. So again it is a profit for him. So what is the creditor amount? 3 lakh. We have to calculate how much amount is forgot, that is we have to always show in the journal entries. So what will be the entry here? Creditors, okay, creditors account debit, capital reduction account, creditors account debit. Let us calculate. Creditor amount is 3 lakh. They're telling 25% we are ready to forego. So means if you calculate 25% means it will come to 75,000 rupees. So this 75,000 rupees I will not get. I mean to say I will not pay to the creditors. So being reduced in the value of liability, or we can say being reduced in the value of creditor, which is a profit for the company. So this is the entry for that one. Next one. Land and building, which is to be valued at 15 lakh. I told you book value is 12 lakh rupees and market value or revalued amount is 15 lakh. So always you should write the revalued and book value, the difference amount. It can be increased or decreased. Sometimes it is a profit or loss. So here in that case, it is a profit. So what will be generate? Now what we have to pass the generate for this one. So land and building, right, which is asset. So land and building account debit, right? So I got a profit on increase in the value of asset. So capital reduction account will become credit because capital reduction account follow the rules of nominal account. So it's a gain. So to capital reduction account. So write down here 15 lakh rupees is the market value and book value is how much? 12 lakh rupees. The difference between both it is how much? 3 lakh rupees. write down here how much we have been adjusted, that is 3 lakh rupees. So what will be my narration here? Being increased value of the land and building. Been increase in the value of the land and building. So this is what will be my journal entry for that particular transaction. Okay. Now, have you people understood this entry?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, coming to the sixth one, very important. The amount thus made available. Now we have to calculate the amount, how much it is available in our capital reduction account. For that, I will do the separately here. Okay. So what I need to do, they are talking about the amount of which amount? Capital reduction account. So we know what is the rule. Debit side will take the total and then credit side also will take the total one by one. According to that, we will take the total. So let us take wherever the capital reduction account is in debit side, you just take the total of this. So in the first entry, there is no capital reduction account in debit side. Second entry also there is no. Third also no. Fourth one is also not there. Fifth one not there. Sixth one also not there. So nowhere capital reduction account is not there in the debit side. So it's a zero. Right now it is what? Zero. But we have to okay. Later on, what they're telling here, we have to take now which side? Credit side total also. So take credit side total 3 lakh rupees. I can see here. Okay. Then how much? 11 lakh 40,000. Okay. So let me write down here 3 lakh rupees plus 11 lakh 40,000 rupees plus then
80,000.
1,000,
80,000 rupees we have here plus
75,000.
75,000,
75 and 3 lakh
3
rupees, right?
lakhs. Yes, sir.
3 lakh rupees. So if you take
18 lakh 95.
18 lakh 95,000.
18 lakh 95,000 is the total of my credit side. Okay, fine, perfect. So this much is the amount which is available in my capital reduction account. Now, as per the question, what they're telling, the amount which is available is to be write off all the intangible and fictitious asset. Now, just go and check how much we have to write off. If you see here, goodwill is 2 lakh rupees. Patent and patent is 1 lakh 50. So 2 lakh rupees plus 1 lakh 50, it will become 3 lakh 50. And profit and loss account is 5 lakh rupees. So if you take the total of all this, it will come to how much rupees? 5 lakh,
8
7
8
and
lakh 50,000.
lakh 50,000.
8 lakh 50,000. So it means what? I can right out of this 18 lakh 95,000, 8 lakh 50,000 I can easily write off. Yes, so I can write off that one. So let us pass the entry because that much amount is available in capital reduction account. So capital reduction account will be my debit. Two. Write one by one. What are the items we need to write off? First one is to goodwill account, which comes to rupees how much goodwill they given in the question is 2 lakh rupees. So let us write off 2 lakh rupees. Now, after goodwill, what is the next item? We have to write off patent.
Patent and patent.
Patent and patent. So what is the amount of patent and patent? It is 1 lakh 50,000 rupees. Now, next one. After patent and patent, we need to write off something called as what? Profit and loss account, which is comes to rupees how much? 5 lakh rupees.
5 lakh.
So 5 lakh rupees is the profit and loss account. So if you take the total, it will come to rupees in the debit side means 8 lakh 50,000 rupees. So now let us pass the narration for this. Write down the narration being written off. Okay, being written off intangible and fictitious asset. Okay, intangible and fictitious assets. So this is the entry for this particular transaction. So from 18 lakh 95,000, I used how much amount to write off? 8 lakh 50,000 rupees. So now what is the balance left with my capital reduction account? It is how much?
10 lakh 45,000, sir.
10 lakh 45,000.
10 lakh 45,000 is the amount which is left in the capital reduction account. Okay, now let us pass with the one more entry. There is a still more entries are available, adjustments are there. Okay. Now we have passed the amount thus made available to write off intangible and fictitious asset. And later on what they're telling, and to bring down the value of plant and machinery by 40%. So we have to bring down the value of plant and machinery with how much percent? 40%. So it is a separate adjustment. Okay. Means there is a decrease in the value of asset. So it's a decrease means it's a loss for me. So what will be the entry? Capital reduction account, because capital reduction follow the nominal account rule. So debit all expenses and losses. So there is a loss. There is a loss means the decrease in the value of asset to plant and machinery account. Okay. Now amount also 10 lakh is the total amount, and they're telling you to write down or reduce by how much percent? 40%, which is equal to rupees how much? 4 lakh rupees. So 4 lakh will come in my both the. How did you got 4 lakh? 10 lakh into how much percent? 40%. So what will be my narration now? Being reduced in the value of plant and machinery. Being reduced in the plant and machinery, because now value of plant and machinery has been reduced. So if I am preparing a balance sheet, so I need to write the revised value after reducing the value, means from 10 lakh 4 lakh is been reduced, means actual value of plant and machinery will be only 6 lakh rupees. So this is the entry for this particular last transaction. Okay. Now the question is not completed here. We have to solve and we have to check the balance. We need to transfer to our capital reserve account. Nothing but we need to pass one final entry. Don't forget this entry, that is nothing but closing of capital reduction account. Okay. So now if you see here in the capital reduction account, here we have from 18 lakh 95,000, 8 lakh 50,000 we have used to write off the value of intangible and fictitious asset. So 10 lakh 45,000 was left. Again from this 10 lakh 45,000, how much went? How much we have used debit, which is 4 lakh rupees. So 10 lakh 45, right? Okay. In the debit side, only one item is there now. 10 lakh, how much? Sorry, 4 lakh rupees now.
4 lakh.
4 lakh rupees is in debit side now. Correct? So here, how much? If you take actual value, okay. If you say actual value means finally it will come to rupees how much?
6 lakh 45,000.
6 lakh 45,000 will be my
6,45,000, sir.
yeah, 6,45,000 will be the balance which will be left in the capital reduction. That balance we need to transfer to where? Capital reserve account. So write down your entry capital reduction account debit, okay, to capital reserve account. Now reduction account debit to capital reserve. So 6,45,000 is the balance, nothing but that will be transferred to capital reserve. Now how did it came item? As I have discussed with you here, this is how the adjustment that will come. So based on this adjustment, we have to see now that how much amount is go to capital reserve account. So this is the amount. So now write down the narration for this one, being closing of capital reduction account. Being closing of what? Capital reduction account. So this is the final amount which will go to where? Capital reserve account. Right? So we have completed all the journal entries. Okay. And then now the time comes to prepare the balance sheet. Now how the balance sheet will look like, that we have to pass now. So let me copy the format of balance sheet from somewhere. Yeah. So I'll just copy this balance sheet. So Messrs. Nisha Limited, that is the company which we need to pass. Okay. Balance sheet as on 31st March 2017. Just change the year 2017. Okay. Now I'm going to remove this amount, all those amount, and then I'm going to start the balance sheet. Okay. Now Let us start with the balance sheet items. First will come equity and liabilities. Equity and liabilities is the first item, right? So in that we have to write something called share capital. So let us start one by one. What are those share capitals are available in the balance sheet? Now, when you're preparing a new balance sheet, you need to go through with the old balance sheet item according to one by one. So first item is 12% preference shares of 100 each. So 12% preference share we have reduced to how much rupees 75, but rate will come 15. So now you go to the journal entry. First journal entry, 12% preference share capital account debit, which is 12 lakh, to 15% preference share capital 75. So always remember 2 will always go to the balance sheet. So this amount, which is nothing but 9 lakh rupees, it will go to the balance sheet. So here I should write first item, instead of 12% we have to write how much percent now, preference share 15%. So preference share capital account, okay, preference share capital, how much rupees it is come to?
9 lakhs, sir.
9 lakh rupees, correct, perfect. So it is 9 lakh rupees. First item is over. Now again, afterwards, what is the next item after preference share capital? We have equity share capital. So let us write down now equity share capital, which is how much? 2. This amount particular 2 will go to balance sheet, nothing but to equity share capital, how much? 60,000 rupees. So I should write here now equity share capital, which is how much rupees? 60,000. Total amount, if you take outer column, it will come how much? 9 lakh 60,000 rupees. Okay. Next, the next part. Now we have to write after that one is what? Reserves and surplus. So if you see in the company's journal entries, what we have passed, we have one reserves. But if you see here in this particular balance sheet, there is no reserves. All are liabilities only. Now check what is the reserves we have last entry. Okay, that reserves is nothing but capital reserve. This don't forget to post. This reserve, capital reserve will come under the heading of what? Reserves and surplus. Remember that last closing entry reserves we need to write down, because as we are going according to the sequence, so only I am writing there as per the sequence, that is capital reserve account. How much we got the capital reserve? It is nothing but 6 lakh
6 lakh 45,000.
6 lakh 45,000. So let us write down here 6 lakh 45,000 is my capital reserve. Okay. Now let us move on to the next one. Now we'll start writing the next item is non-current liabilities. So now non-current liability means liability which is obviously which can be paid not within 1 year. It is a long-term liabilities. So what are those long-term liability? We have 10% debenture which is company has to pay. But what happened condition, remember, with 10% debenture? 10% debenture was increased the rate of interest to how much percent? 15%. So we have already passed one entry, 10% debenture account debit to 15%. So this 15% I told you new debenture we have given to the old debenture holders. Rate is new actually, but amount is the same only, which is how much? 8 lakh rupees. So new always will go to the balance sheet. So write down here non-current liability. In that we have to write, instead of 10% we have to write how much percent? 15%. So 15% debenture, which is nothing but 8 lakh rupees. That is the only one item which we have to write in our balance sheet. Okay, done. That is what we have to do here. So 8 lakh will remain the same only. Next, outstanding interest on debenture. Now, if you remember carefully, what happened to outstanding interest on debenture? It has been forgo. The amount or the liability which has been already forgo, it won't be come into the balance sheet, because already that it been removed. It has been taken off back. So outstanding interest on debenture will not come in the balance sheet. Next, what is the next item? Bank overdraft and sundry creditor. Both are my which liability? Current liability. Okay. So now write down next item, that is nothing but current liability. So now what is the first item in non-current liability? First one is bank overdraft. Now, if you remember carefully, we have not done any adjustment which is related to bank overdraft. So bank overdraft is as it is same only. We have not, company has not done any adjustment. So we are not going to change anything of bank overdraft. So bank overdraft will remain same, which is amount to rupees how much? 60,000 rupees. Here also it will come 60,000 rupees. Now coming to the sundry creditor, which is 3 lakh, but we have done one adjustment on sundry creditor, which is nothing but what? Creditors is agreed to forward 25% of the claim. That 25% will not come, but 75% will come in the balance sheet. So we have to write down here under the current liability, sundry creditors. Okay, total amount is 3 lakh rupees. In this 3 lakh rupees, what has happened? 25% of the sundry creditor has been foregone. Means we have foregone how much? If we have already passed the entry for this 75,000 rupees. So this 75,000 will be now minus. Means actual liability will be how much now? It will be
2
2
lakh
lakh
25,000.
2,25,000, sir.
2,25,000. So take the total 60,000 plus 2,25,000 if you take
2 lakh 85,000.
2,85,000.
2,85,000 is the total amount of current liability which will come in the outer column. Okay. Now that is what we have been posted now here. So now let us move on to the next item one by one. So balance sheet liability side is over. Now we have to move on to the asset side. So just we'll keep it like this only. Later on we'll see. Now asset side. First one we have to start with something called non-current asset. Okay, non-current asset, nothing but long-term asset for the company. So let us move on to and write down what are those non-current asset. So first one is land and building. Okay, now what happened to, if you remember properly carefully, land and building is book value is 12 lakh but market value is 15 lakh. I told you always market value you have to record in the balance sheet. So write down here land and building. Okay, land and building, which is amount to rupees how much? The revised value of that, not the book value, because already in the adjustment they're telling now the market value of the land and building is how much? 15 lakh rupees. Don't write 12 lakh rupees because that is the old value. New value always you should write. So what is the amount will come here? 15 lakh rupees. Done. Now coming to the next one. After that we have plant and machinery which is 10 lakh rupees. Now if you remember properly carefully we have done one adjustment. Plant and machinery value has been written down by 40%. Plant and machinery value has been what? Written down by how much percent? 40%. So plant and machinery not 100% we have write down, only 40%. So 10 lakh rupees is the amount which we have been seen in the book value. 40% is been written down means the actual value of the land and building will come how much? Revised value it is 6 lakh rupees.
6 lakhs.
So this is the amount which will come in the balance sheet. Now afterwards what we have next item, furniture and fixture. So once again it will come because we have not done any adjustment. So next item will come furniture and fixture. Okay, furniture and what? Fixture. So now what is the amount of furniture and fixture? That is nothing but total amount how much? 3 lakh rupees. So write down here 3 lakh rupees total amount of furniture and fixture. Now let us move on to the next one. Okay, so I think now stock and data and cash is there. Patent we have written off, profit and also we have written off. So all non-current asset we have been write off, written already in the balance sheet. Now if you take the total it will come to rupees how much?
24 lakh.
Lakh rupees, correct. Okay, so I hope everyone are getting the same total.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let us move on to the next item, that is nothing but current asset. So we have two current asset in our balance sheet. Sorry, three. There are three current asset: stock, data, and cash. Okay. So let us write first item. We have not done any adjustment related to stock, so we are going to show same stock, right? So stock amount is how much rupees here? 1 lakh rupees. So stock is 1 lakh rupees. So we are going to show is data's amount is 1,30,000. Yes, data is 1,30,000 means we have not done any adjustment related to data, means as it is we are going to receive the money from the data's, that is how much? 1,30,000. So next current asset will be 1,30,000, which is nothing but data's. Coming to the next one, what is the next item? We have cash and bank. So we have cash and bank of rupees, how much we have? Cash and bank, which is amount to rupees, how much it is? 60,000 rupees. Total amount of the cash and bank. So I think all items we have finished. Profit and loss account we have written off. So all the items we have done, and we have been end with the problem now here. So let us take the total of one by one. Okay, first we'll take the total of our current asset, and then we'll go on to the balance sheet totaling. 1 lakh plus 1,30,000 plus 60, it will come
2
2.
lakh 90,000.
2,90,000.
So 2,90,000 is the total of the current asset. Okay, and let us go and check, go to the journal entry and check any items we have missed or which is pending, anything is there, just check. So first entry also we have written, always cross check with your journal entry. Sometimes there may be items which you may forget to write, show in your balance sheet. So 12% preference share is over, equity share capital is also over, outstanding interest we not have to show, 10% debenture to 15%, 8 lakh we have already shown, creditor to capital reduction, land and building to capital reduction is over. Okay, next is capital reduction to goodwill, patent we have written off, plant and machinery, capital is also we have shown. So now let us go on and check the total of first liability side, and then we'll check the total of asset side. So if you take the total, what is the total coming?
26
26
lakh
lakh
26
90,000.
lakh 90,000, sir.
1,000 rupees is the total of the liability side, and let us go and check the total of asset side.
Same, sir. 26 lakh 90,000.
26 lakh 90,000.
6,90,000 is the total of asset side. So now here our balance sheet get tally. So this is how you have to solve the problem in your examination. Follow the format properly, read the question properly, and then you have to solve one by one. Carefully you have to solve the balance sheet, because it is very important when you come to the, when you prepare revised balance sheet. So 26 lakh 90,000, 26 lakh 90,000, this is what we have got the answer over here. Okay, so that's all. This, the problem is completed, so I will stop recording here.